Yo, other countries are offloading all of their US treasuries, meaning like all of the debt, the US debt that they purchased. China, for instance, is getting rid of all of it. I think this is the reason why Trump is freaking out, trying to force the Fed to lower rates here. This is sort of complicated. I am not an economist, so I'm not going to be able to really explain this to you. Just know that the United States is financially fucked because it's like $6.4 trillion worth of debt that no other country wants anymore because it's not a good investment. It used to be a good investment because the dollar was worth a lot of money. The dollar has lost 10% of its value since Trump came into office because no one wants to buy this debt that has lost value and now the interest rates are higher. No one would do that. That's not a good deal. But these countries don't want to hold on to our debt anymore. So now it's just going to be debt that's out there floating around. So long story short, the U.S. is going to need to refinance its debt. If we can't get the rates to go down, then they're going to have to refinance at higher rates. And it sounds like the private sector is going to probably be who picks this debt up. And they don't have any... They're not concerned with keeping the United States safe or keeping the dollar safe or doing anything above board. They just want to make money. I mean, I think we can see what the private sector has done to the housing market. It's horrible. But yeah, other countries no longer want anything to do with the US dollar or our debt. So we are in a really sketchy financial situation right now. We are in way over our heads with this debt. What's going on?
Shalom. First thing and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai Ba'ashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Blessings and salutations to the whole elect. Real quick, this says Babylon is through and Esau don't have the answers. He is definitely scared. This lady here was going into how a lot of countries are offloading U.S. treasuries, which is basically they're sending the debt back here, which will cause the dollar to be devalued and possibly inflation, soon to be hyperinflation. What we see right now is an increase in what they call inflation since 2022-23. In the midst of the pandemic, things have gone up dramatically. And a lot of these things are price hikes and price gouges by corporations to see how people will fare with it. All right. Because none of these places outside of small mom and pop businesses are justified on raising prices if they have a franchise behind them or if they have a corporate name behind them. OK, like Walmart, they suffer from DEI, but in tandem, they raise up their prices. But Walmart can bite the cost because that's a multi-billion-dollar company. Same thing with Target. Same thing with places like McDonald's and Burger King. These major franchises, they can literally cover the cost and eat the cost. But because of corporate greed and capitalism, and because we live in a what you call what they say is a republic, because this is not a democracy, but this is basically an oligarchy when you got a group of elites that dictates the life of the people below them. Okay, then you have serfs, then men that pretty much are the peasants that they were paid a livable wage to protect particular interests of the elites. And this is your common worker today. All right. So I looked up something on Grok. Right now, I typed in what happens when a country offload its dollars. And it goes and says when a country offload all of its U.S. treasuries, meaning it sells or exchanges its entire reserve of USD for other currencies, assets, or commodities, the consequences depends on the country's economic size, its role in global trade, and the manner and speed of offloading. It says here's a concise breakdown of what would happen. Basically, devaluation and market disruption, rapidly selling large amounts of USD would likely cause its value to drop, especially if the country holds significant reserves like China or Japan. It says this can lead to volatility in the global currency markets as other countries and investors react to the falling dollar, hence Trump raising tariffs. Okay, I believe he went up on India again. And I remember he put like 100 some, what was that on China? I think he put up to I can't recall it, but China retaliated and put tariffs on America as well. But Trump was going all out, putting tariffs on places like Canada, India, Mexico, But it reads here, it says the country's own currency might appreciate sharply if it converts USD into its domestic currency, potentially harming its export competitiveness. It says since the USD is the world's primary reserve currency used in most international transactions, oils, commodity, offloading it entirely could disrupt the country's ability to engage in global trade unless it secures alternative currencies or payment systems, hence the chip. Other countries might follow suit, further destabilizing global markets if they perceive the USD losing its reserve status, and it is. Now you have economic isolation. It says by abandoning the US dollar, the country might face challenges associated or accessing dollar-based financial systems like SWIFT, complicating international banking and trade. It reads, it says it can shift to alternative systems like China's CIPS or barter arrangements, but these are less developed and might limit trade deficit efficiency. Slovakia. Domestic economic effects. If the country uses the proceeds to buy its own currency or assets, it could trigger inflation or as bubbles domestically. And this is why they say, well, print more money. Well, you print more money, you're just going to add to the deficit because the dollar is not being backed by any precious metal. But it says conversely, if it buys other currencies, euros or yuan, it may stabilize the economy but become vulnerable to those currency fluctuations. Then you have geopolitical fallout, which goes into war. Because I always speculated that once the US dollar collapsed, that's going to be the official start of World War III. I mean, World War III has already started, but that can probably be the beginning of what we see, a hot war, okay? Outside of the boots on the ground and the tanks, we can very well start to see missiles being dropped to some degree because geopolitical fallout comes in MOTB. But it says offboarding the USD could be seen as a hostile move by the U.S., potentially leading to sanctions, trade restrictions, or diplomatic tensions. And it may signal a broader shift away from U.S.-centric financial systems, encouraging other nations to diversify reserves into gold or yuan. And the impact on U.S. economy, a significant sell-off could weaken the USD, raising U.S. import costs and inflation. However, the U.S. may counter this through monetary policy or diplomatic measures, which nobody wants to be diplomatic anymore. But it says if multiple countries follow, it could challenge the USD's reserve status. Through this will likely take years due to the dollar's enhanced role. Well, I doubt if it take years, but we'll see. All right, real world context. Floating will likely cause immediate economic disruption of the country. Yep. So yeah, man, this shit is getting ready to collapse. I just had to read that because it was basically in tandem with what she was saying. But peep this, you Americans, you ain't ready. All right, so this is the book of Ezekiel 38, and I'm going to start at verses 10, and it says, thus says the Lord Yahweh, it shall also come to pass that at the same time things should come into thy mind, and thou should think an evil thought, and that's the invasion of Babylon. It says, and thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and having neither bars nor gates, to take the spoil and to take the prey, to turn thy hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods that dwell in the midst of the land. Yeah. Okay. But it says neither bars nor gates, because the average American, their butt hurt now because their entitlement is dwindling. Okay. These people have been overly entitled because, you know, the slogan of America, land of the free, home of the brave. You know, these people were gifted into believing that they deserve the American dream. So anything less than, they're the ones that's being victimized now. And in many cases, you know, they have a reason to be upset because they're taking literally billions of taxpayers' dollars and they're sending them overseas to Ukraine, to Israel. You know, they're not helping the homeless. You know, these towns are getting destroyed by storms, and the only thing they can do is build up a freaking 15-minute smart city or a data center. You know, so people are pissed off, which, honestly speaking, these people should have been over the edge a long time ago, because it ain't going to do nothing but get worse. All right.
To do with the US dollar or our debt. So we are in a really sketchy financial situation right now. We are in way over our heads with this debt.
What's going on, everyone? It's me, it's Jeremy. It's August 28th, 2025. So I got some financial market news, guys. Treasury bonds are being sold off at alarming levels. Japan, China, they are starting to sell off their treasury bonds. And this is something I've talked about and other channels have talked about. People that have been informing you of the financial reset, all of the stages, all the steps, the things to pay attention to. The number one thing was when treasury bonds finally start to get sold off, and more importantly, when people stop buying the treasury bonds, you know it's coming. It's around the corner. This reset, whatever the event that's going to be to trigger the final blow to the dollar, it's around the corner. Okay, we have thrown our theories on this channel. They're out here. Things like Trump's health, war, another lockdown, this alien thing. Something is about to happen to where it is going to be the catalyst to shift us into the new digital system 100%, and everyone's going to be done with the US dollar. It's going to be toilet paper. Okay? It would make sense why the National Guard is being deployed, right? Something is coming, and we know the economy is going to be affected, and we know stores are going to be a target. So they're obviously putting this National Guard out there for a reason, guys. Now, I throw different theories around. Is it the aliens? Jesus coming back? Big earthquake? Economic collapse? Pick your card. I don't care. Like, they're preparing for something. What I can guarantee you, out of everything, the only thing that we can actually guarantee is there is a financial transition happening. 144 on the clock. I can't guarantee you aliens are coming. I can't guarantee you Jesus is coming. I can't even guarantee you're going to get the big earthquake. I can guarantee you right now, in real time, they are upgrading your financial system. They are changing it, okay, completely. That is happening in real time. That is tangible stuff that we can follow, we can observe data, and we can prepare for. So this is my advice to you, okay, because they're dumping the treasury bonds, all right, and they're not buying them. I don't care what you believe in. Look at me. I don't care if you believe in Jesus, aliens, anything. If you think you're getting raptured here at the end of September, then your money doesn't matter. And if you truly believe in it, I want you to go to the store and I want you to stockpile goods and leave them for the left behind. Make it your last good deed for your fallen brothers and sisters who aren't as good as you. If you
And none of you clowns are getting raptured. That's not biblical, bro. All right. Anyway, Ezekiel 7, and let's start at verses 10. It says, "Behold, the day become it is come, and the morning is going forth, and the rod have blossomed, and pride have budded." Yeah, pride, man. Pride is the offense to Yahweh Bashim outside. All right, outside of blasphemy. Pride, okay? Because these people, you're just prideful. And you have nothing to show for but wickedness, man. This is why the world is coming up against this place. And you know what? Good riddance to you people. It says here, "Violence has risen up into a rod of wickedness. None of them shall remain, nor of their multitude, nor any of theirs. Neither shall there be welling for them." So when you people get ultimately unalive, nobody's welling for you people, man. Because it's in the back of our mind, you people deserve it any goddamn way. All right. And it says here, "The time has come, the day draweth near. Let not the buyer rejoice, nor the seller mourn. For the wrath is upon all the multitude thereof." Yeah, the entire multitude. So from point A to point Z, from the top worker to the lowest worker on the totem pole, everybody's getting ready to feel the squeeze. All right, and we're feeling it now. Hell, I paid $28 yesterday for 2 small boxes of ice cream, a case of water. What else did I buy? A case of water, and I bought some other stuff. Like 4 or 5 items. How in the hell did it come out to $28, man? But it's the world we live in. And it says here, "For the seller should not return to that which is sold, although they were yet alive. For the vision is touching the whole multitude thereof, which should not return, neither shall any strengthen himself in the iniquity of his life." Yeah, so your money, your substance, and all your stuff that you got, eventually you're just going to have to burn that shit. Because verse 19, it says they should cast their silvers in the street, meaning their money, and their gold should be removed, and their silver and their gold should not be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath. They should not satisfy their souls, nor fill their bowels, because it is the stumbling block of their iniquity. All right, so these people are getting ready to see some horrendous type suffering because they didn't take heed to the Heavenly Father, man. Okay, remember the Lord said he was going to break the staff of bread in Judah, and he's going to do just as that. the staff of bread in America. Jeremiah 49, and I'm going to start at verses 31. And it reads, it says, arise and get you up to the wealthy nation that dwelleth without care. That's over here, because like I mentioned, these people are careless as hell. Okay, says the Lord, which have neither bars nor gates, which dwell alone. Okay, why? Because the freedoms that they've been given. Okay, they're hiding behind the Constitution, but now they're talking about doing away with the Constitution. Like another Constitution is going to overstep that. And it says, and that camels should be a booty, and the multitude of their cattle was spoiled, and I was scatter into all the winds them that are in the utmost corners, and I will bring their calamity from all sides thereof, because invasion. All right. Let's go here. Book of Habakkuk 2. And let's start at verses 13. It says, behold, is it not of the Lord of hosts that the people shall labor in the very fire, and the people should wear themselves for vanity? Yeah, the shit people do in life just to get ahead. Man, it's crazy work. It says, for the earth should be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord as the water cover the seas, man. All right. But it says here, should people labor for the very fire? Because, I mean, people's lives here has become drastically worse. Like they mentioned, they stated that you pay an extra $25,000 a year in taxes, and you can live off that alone. So you're being double, quadruple taxed, on money that you're not even seeing back, because there's very minimal, if any, infrastructure growth. All right. They don't invest in infrastructure. They put all their money in a war machine, and they give it to those small hats in Israel. So anyway, I'm going to end it giving all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Bashim Rakakwadash. Lord's will, you will edify. Until the next lesson. Shalom.
Truly believe that you are about to be raptured, then make some videos. Show us that you truly believe it, that you honestly believe it 100%. Go to the store, record yourself, empty your bank accounts, go buy stuff, take it to the shelters now. Help people right now. You don't need it. Jesus is coming. The Anunnaki's coming. Whoever it is. But if that doesn't happen, you'll have some supplies, and you'll be ready for what is about to happen with this economic collapse. I've been telling you guys, my name's Jeremy, the book of Jeremiah, the weeping prophet. I've been telling you the one thing that I can actually guarantee is that you will see an economic collapse. You will see a transition. It's going digital, and it's going to be a completely different financial system. Money is going to be moved differently. It's going to be made differently. It's going to be held differently. It's going to be transferred differently, and you need to figure it out.
Isaiah 3:1. And it reads, it says, for behold, the Lord of hosts doth take away from Jerusalem and Jerusalem, Judah and Jerusalem, and the stay of the staff and the whole stay of bread and the whole stay of water. Okay? That's the point. The Most High is getting ready to break this place down economically, man, and we're seeing it. And I know I did give the closing salute, but, I still wanted to bring this out. Ezekiel 5, and I'm going to start at verses 16. And it says, and when I shall send upon them all the evil arrows of famine, because famine comes with the economic collapse, which should be for their destruction, which I will send to destroy you, and I will increase the famine upon you, and will break your staff of bread. So will I send upon you famine and evil beasts, and they shall bereave thee, and pestilence and blood shall pass through thee, and I will bring the sword upon thee. I, the Lord, have spoken it. So with that, all praises and glory and honor that is due to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Once again, Lord's will, you will edify. Until the next lesson. Shalom.